Tuesday, July 28th, 2020, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. There are a lot of headlines out there. Gold going up on tensions with China, new Cold War, gold going up because of uncertainty, safe haven flows, silver going up as well. And I want to talk about today the real reason why gold and silver are going up. And in truth, it's why the fiat currencies are going down. And it's very simple. Once you look at the history of money and the history of currency, what money and currency really are. Before I go briefly into that, I want to recommend a couple of books where you can find out all about the history of money, currency, and what governments have done to our money as well. The first one is What Government Has Done to Our Money by Murray Rothbard. You need to read this book, in my opinion, if you want to understand the monetary system or money. And the other one is a more recent recommendation that I'm making, and I'm doing a video every day about each letter that William Cobbett wrote back 210 years ago, and that's Paper Against Gold. There you go. And all the rest of the title, William Cobbett. These books are essential if you want to understand what's going on. But let me give you my understanding of what money, currency is. So prior to having money, humans used to barter. Barter was inefficient. So eventually people found that there was a commodity that everyone wanted. That was the most marketable commodity. It has been many different things. But for the last few thousand years, gold and silver have been the most marketable commodities. And they circulated as currency and money all at the same time. Eventually, though, there are these guys called the goldsmiths or the banchieri in the Middle Ages in Italy. And they used to write receipts. Someone came and left their gold or silver with them. They used to write to them a warehouse receipt. And that's where these come in. And eventually, government hijacked the system with the bankers. The first one, I would say, was the Bank of England, maybe the Dutch Central Bank or the Swedish Central Bank. But let's go with the Bank of England in 1694. They hijacked the system. And eventually the government got in bed with the bankers and made it mandatory for people to pay with these instead of these that circulated as currency as well. And as you can see here, it was a great system prior to the bankers getting involved. Yes, these coins are from when the bankers were around, but even then you had a very good system. You had the silver, all the small denominations. You had the gold as well. As you can see, for the US, $20, $10, $5, and then you had the $half, the quarter, the dime, the penny. I haven't got a dollar, a full dollar silver coin handy right now. And then you got the British system where you have the sovereign, which was a pound. And then you have the half crown. Yes, there is a crown as well. And then you have the florin and the shilling. The shilling, for example, is 12 pence. There were 240 pence to the pound, so 20 shillings were a pound. The system worked really well. The ratio was around 15-1 for both, I would say. But let the market determine the ratio. But that's how it used to work. So for the UK, up until World War I, that's how the system worked. Yes, there were these before World War I. But you could redeem them for gold and silver as well. Took it to the bank. You could convert it at a fixed rate. The same thing for the US. So when did they hijack the system completely? Well, in the UK was after 1931. The country went off the gold standard. The silver standard as well, they went off in 1920. So they've been hijacking the system forever. In the US, until 1933, you could still carry around your $10 coin. It was currency. Yes, there were dollar bills, but it was currency as well. I watched an interesting interview yesterday, Peter Schiff, with a guy called Anthony Pompliano, or Pomp, and it was very amusing and entertaining. But I think Mr. Pompliano doesn't understand that gold is currency as well, and has been long before this was currency. I'm sorry, I don't have dollar bills here. I'm in the UK. So now to the fun part. Why is gold and silver, why are their prices going up? Or as I like to put it, why are these going down versus gold? Well, it's very easy to explain. It's the simple law of supply and demand. Up until 1914, you could take one of these, a 10-pound Bank of England note. I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of 10 pounds. So if you went to the Bank of England or any other bank, you'd get 10 of these sovereigns, because sovereigns were a pound. And funnily enough, they're still a pound today. Their face value, their legal tender value is a pound today. So you could get 10 of these, right? After World War I started, they suspended the convertibility until around, I think, 1925 or 26, when the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Winston Churchill, put the country back on the gold standard. But they put it back on the wrong rate, because during World War I, the bankers had created too many of these, and there weren't enough of these. So it was completely botched. So by 1931, the system was under pressure, and they suspended convertibility again. So in the UK, it's been since 1931 that they've been inflating the money supply. What does that mean? Well, exactly what it means. They inflate these. They create more and more of these paper currencies, while the supply of this stays constant. So let's say you've got 1,000 of these. Now, will you be able to get, how many will you be able to get with 1,000 of these? You won't be able to get 1,000. You're going to get a lot less. It's that simple law of supply and demand. And that's what's happening. You inflate the money supply or the currency. You inflate the currency, really. You inflate the fiat currency. It's very confusing. Not confusing, but you can get confused. You inflate the currency. So that's what happens. So nowadays, to get one of these, I need almost 400 of these. Why? Because they've inflated the currency so much. And that's why prices go up. Prices don't go up because businessmen or businesswomen are greedy, or because of this and that. Prices go up of real goods because the price of the currency goes down versus real money, and that's what's happening. And the same thing has happened in the US up until 1933. You could go around and pay with your $20, your $10, or your $5. And the dollar bills, they were convertible on demand. But then they inflated the system as well in the roaring 20s, and the country went off the gold standard domestically. It used to be that $20.67 would give you an ounce of gold, roughly. And then the US, though, stayed on an international gold standard until 1971, of course, at $35 an ounce. So, and they've been doing the same thing. They've been inflating the currency supply, M1 or M2, but I'm going to show you M1 here. how they've been inflating it. And this is from the St. Louis Fed. This is the M1. So there you go. This year it's been even more a dramatic increase. You can see that since '08 as well, the rate of ascent is sped up. So is it any wonder that the price of gold is going up versus these fiat currencies? The more you create of something relative to something that has a steady supply, and gold and silver take effort to create. The central banks, they create these fiat currencies at will. Used to be, they used to write it on an entry, ledger entry, before you had keyboards for computers. Now it's just a keyboard. And that's why the price of gold and silver are going up. And I'm going to show you now a price chart from the LBMA, because it's interesting, because we get a price all the way back to 1968. And you can see there that an ounce of gold in pounds was $14.55. So the price of this at the time was $3.43, and now we're almost $400. A lot of people that I've met and talked to sometimes, and we're talking about investments, and this is not even investing. If you really think about it, this is just saving really in real money. It becomes like an investment because the currency is so trashy, and it's not just the pound, the dollar bill as well, the euro, that it looks like an investment. And people think that precious metals or real money is really risky against paper. But look at that chart. I know it's a long-term chart and it's choppy along the way, but the trend is from the lower left-hand side to the upper right. If you want to turn it around as well, the trend is to zero for these, because politicians and bankers always abuse their power to issue these. Until we get the bankers and the politicians out of the monetary system, it's not going to be honest. And why do I say that? Don't I trust people? Not really, because you give them too much power, they abuse it eventually. It might work in the beginning if we go back to a gold standard where we can convert these to gold or silver, but eventually they're going to cheat again, and the same thing's going to happen to future generations. So here's the dollar chart. So as you can see, we were around 35 an ounce, and it's been the same thing. Even in the 80s when and 90s, when gold was trading in the range there, 250 to 400 or thereabouts, it was still way higher than it was back in 68. Yes, that move in 79 to 80 was a big spike. And that's why you shouldn't, how can I say, chase the market. That's why you should dollar cost average, and you should do it for the long term. And that's why people get, how can I say, scared about investing. Not investing, but really holding real money, because that's what holding gold and silver really is. And that's why the price of fiat currencies and the dollar are going down versus gold. Yeah, you can say that gold is going up or silver. And this picture here, I think, is the main reason for it. M1 money stock, the way it's growing here. I'll put the 1 year chart so you can see how it's really accelerating right now. So when you hear people in the mainstream giving all the reasons for gold and silver going up, just remember that they don't know anything about the history of money like I've studied. Maybe some of them do, but very few of them talk about it. They think gold is a risky commodity, but it is a commodity, but it's a monetary one, and it's been around for thousands of years. It has the most stable store value You could get a really nice toga back in Roman times and some nice sandals for around an ounce of gold. And you could do the same today with a suit and a pair of shoes. Silver as well. I think silver is a very important part of money, as it's like the change for gold, and that's why our forefathers had this bimetallic system, which I think works really well. And you've got copper as well for the pennies. I don't have very old pennies here, so I didn't put them out because they're pennies from post-decimalization for the UK. So there you go. I hope that explains to you, especially if you're new to the channel, why gold and silver are going up, and they're going to continue to go higher because the inflation of the currency is going to continue. So I've rambled enough. It's 8:20 a.m. London time. Let's see where the markets are then. Let's finish with the markets today. Well, gold is at 1935 or 36, down about $6. The high's been 1981, the low 1930. So we almost got up to 2000. Am I excited about while gold is broken out? Yeah, I did that in my video yesterday. And it's a good signal, of course, but it's not the way to look at it. The way to look at it is that the currencies are just losing value. It's not a great thing. What gold and silver will do for you is protect the purchasing power of all your efforts you've done throughout your life and all the efforts you're putting into your life right now, or your savings, right? So that's why you need to get away from these. Of course, we still have to deal with these day to day. You need to keep some in your wallet or some in the bank to pay bills. But if you have any extra that you can save, you should convert it into real money, in my opinion. It's not advice. This is what I do. You should maybe think about reading these before you get into accumulating real money. So silver is down 25 cents right now, or 1%. We actually got up to 26.22. It's getting wild, as I said, and we're down almost $2 from the high, but we're still $3 above that 21 level. So there you go. It's getting very choppy. A lot of people are going to get out of their positions in paper, gold and silver. I don't care if they do, but what you shouldn't do is think that you need to take profit with your real money. This is just savings. Unless you really need it, you've got an emergency, you should hold on to it. You saw those charts from the LBMA of how the currencies are collapsing. They could have turned that around. The stock market, the Dow is up 8 points, the future, so very quiet. S&P up 2, NASDAQ 100 future up 37. The fiat currencies against themselves, I guess, the foreign exchange market, we got sterling down 0.1% at 128.65. We got the euro down 0.2% versus the dollar at 117.25. And the dollar up 0.14% versus the yen at 105.50. Dollar is unchanged versus the yuan, just above 7. Crude oil is up slightly at 41.70. So the 10-year yield has risen a little bit. We're back above 0.6. We're at 0.62. So there you go. That's the real reason the fiat currencies like the pound, all of them are going down versus gold, is because too many of them are being created out of thin air. It's very hard to create gold and silver out of thin air. Well, it's impossible. It requires a lot of effort to find gold and silver. Yes, there's a lot of gold above ground, but that's the other reason why it's money. But gold is very rare in the Earth's surface to find. I know Pomp yesterday with Peter Schiff was saying that you could find gold anywhere in the streets of New York. You could get a shovel. I'm not sure what he was talking about there. So it's the supply of gold grows around 1 to 2% a year. So there you go. I hope that clarified things for you. Always be aware that the mainstream media, especially the financial mainstream media, the bankers, they're all in bed together. They don't want to see people put their savings in real money. They want them to keep playing this inflation fiat currency game. They want people to keep borrowing in this and using this. They don't want people to be protecting their savings with real money. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.